The
Almost
rain
ready,
came down
friends.
so
Just a
hard that
few more
customers had
minutes.
started squeezing under the
Looks
small
delicious,
metal roof
Maya.
beside
Won't be
Maya's
long
BBQ
now. Who's
stand.
next?
Smoke curled into the air as she flipped ribs over the fire with one hand and packed orders with the other. "2 more spicy wings," a customer shouted. "I got you," Maya replied with a tired smile. Then headlights flashed across the wet pavement. A black luxury car stopped directly in front of the stand. The entire street went quiet. Maya looked up slowly as Ethan stepped out wearing a grey designer suit that probably cost more than her entire food cart. His jaw was tight, his expression cold. And in his hand were divorce papers. One of the customers muttered, "Oh no." Ethan walked straight toward Maya without caring that rain soaked his expensive shoes. "Maya," he said sharply, "we need to stop pretending." She stared at him. "Pretending what?" "That this marriage still makes sense." The customers exchanged awkward glances. Maya lowered the tongs slowly. "You came here for this?" "Yes." He slapped the papers onto the counter beside the sauce bottles. "I can't keep living like this." "Like what?" "Like I married someone who belongs at a roadside grill." The silence became painful. Even the sizzling meat sounded louder. Maya swallowed hard. "Ethan." "No." He shook his head. "I'm done defending this lifestyle. I'm done being embarrassed every time someone asks what my wife does." One customer frowned. "That woman works harder than anybody here." Ethan ignored him. "She smells like smoke every night. She spends all day serving strangers. Meanwhile, people in my business circle are married to lawyers, investors, entrepreneurs." Maya's eyes watered slightly, but she stayed calm. "And now?" she asked quietly. Ethan looked toward the luxury car. A glamorous woman stepped out holding an umbrella. Tall heels, diamond earrings, designer dress, Vanessa Laurent, the millionaire influencer everybody online worshipped. Vanessa glanced at the BBQ stand with visible disgust. "So this is where you've been hiding," she said. Maya recognized her instantly. Vanessa wrapped her arm around Ethan possessively. Ethan didn't pull away. That hurt more than anything. "If you're wondering," Ethan said coldly, "Vanessa understands the kind of future I want." Vanessa smirked. "A future bigger than barbecue sauce." A few customers looked offended. Maya stared at Ethan for several seconds, then quietly asked, "Was I only good enough when you were broke?" Ethan looked away. That silence answered everything. If this story already has you angry, subscribe right now, because what Ethan was about to lose would destroy him completely. Maya picked up the papers. Her hands trembled slightly. Everyone expected her to cry, to beg, to scream. Instead, she signed. Ethan blinked in surprise. "That's it?" he asked. Maya handed the papers back calmly. "If money matters more to you than loyalty," she said softly, "then there's nothing left to save." For the first time, Ethan looked unsettled, but Vanessa quickly pulled him away. "Come on," she said. "You're better than this place." As they drove off, Maya stood silently in the rain while smoke rose around her. One older customer walked closer carefully. "You okay, sweetheart?" Maya forced a smile. "Can't let the ribs burn." 3 months earlier, Ethan had been a completely different man. Back then, he used to sit beside Maya's grill late at night after work. He used to kiss her forehead while she cooked. "You know this BBQ built us," he once told her, and it was true. Years earlier, Ethan had been broke, drowning in debt, trying desperately to start a small marketing company. Nobody believed in him. Nobody except Maya. She paid bills when he couldn't. She cooked for him every night. When investors rejected him, she stayed awake, encouraging him until sunrise. "You're going to make it someday," she always told him. And eventually he did. His company finally grew. Money started coming in, new clothes, new friends, new parties, new attitude. At first, Maya ignored the changes, until the embarrassment started. One night, Ethan invited business partners to dinner. Maya arrived after work wearing jeans and smelling faintly of charcoal smoke. One of the men laughed jokingly. "So, your wife really runs that little BBQ stand?" Ethan chuckled nervously. "Yeah, she's passionate about it." Maya noticed the embarrassment immediately. Another man smirked. "That's cute. Cute. Not impressive. Not respected. Cute." The ride home that night was painfully quiet. "You laughed at me," Maya finally said. Ethan sighed. "I was trying to fit in." "So humiliating your wife helps you fit in." "You're overreacting." "No, you're changing." Ethan gripped the steering wheel tighter. "You don't understand how this world works, Maya. And you don't understand how loyalty works." That was the beginning of the crack. Then Vanessa entered his life completely. Vanessa Laurent was famous online for luxury content, private jets, designer shopping, million-dollar penthouses, perfect photos, perfect image. And Ethan became addicted to that world. Every night he scrolled through her posts. Every night he compared Maya to her. One evening, Maya found him smiling at Vanessa's photos. "She's beautiful," Maya admitted quietly. Ethan didn't even deny it. "You know what else she is?" he said. "What?" "Ambitious." Maya stared at him in disbelief. "You think I'm not ambitious because I cook food?" "You settled for small." Maya laughed bitterly. "Small? This stand paid your rent when nobody respected you." That was before. Those 3 words shattered something inside her. That was before. Like she was part of a life he had outgrown. A week later, Ethan attended Vanessa's birthday party alone. Videos flooded social media all night. Champagne, celebrities, luxury. And Ethan smiling beside Vanessa like Maya no longer existed. Customers at the BBQ stand started whispering. "You saw your husband online?" Maya kept cooking silently. Then came the worst humiliation. Vanessa visited the BBQ stand herself. She arrived wearing sunglasses and heels completely unsuited for the street. People immediately started recording. Vanessa looked around with disgust. "Oh my God," she laughed. "People actually line up for this." Maya stayed calm. "Would you like to order something?" Vanessa smiled mockingly. "No thanks, I don't eat struggle food." Several customers became angry instantly, but Maya simply wiped her hands slowly. "What do you want, Vanessa?" Vanessa leaned closer. "You know Ethan deserves more than this, right?" Maya felt her chest tighten. Vanessa continued softly. "A man like him shouldn't come home smelling smoke and grease every night." Before Maya could respond, Ethan suddenly appeared behind Vanessa, and he didn't defend his wife. Not once. Instead, he sighed impatiently. "Maya, stop making scenes." Her heart dropped. "You brought her here." "I wanted honesty." Maya looked between both of them. "So you're cheating?" Ethan hesitated. Vanessa answered for him. "We're together now." Maya looked at Ethan desperately. "Tell me she's lying." Ethan finally spoke. "I didn't plan for this to happen." That was all she needed to hear. And the crazy part? Ethan truly believed he was upgrading his life. Like the video if you already know karma is coming for him, because trust me, this story gets much crazier from here. The next few weeks felt unreal. Ethan moved into Vanessa's luxury penthouse overlooking the city, while Maya stayed in her tiny apartment above the BBQ shop. Online, Ethan suddenly looked like a completely different man. Designer watches, VIP parties, photos beside celebrities. Vanessa posted him constantly. "Power couple energy," one caption read. Thousands of comments praised them. Meanwhile, Maya kept waking up at 5 every morning to prepare meat and sauces before opening the stand. And somehow, she never spoke badly about Ethan. That confused people more than anything. One afternoon, her employee Darius finally snapped. "How are you still calm?" he asked while chopping onions aggressively. "That man embarrassed you in front of the whole city." Maya kept seasoning ribs quietly. "Hating him won't fix anything." "But he left you for a woman who treats people like trash." Maya smiled faintly. "People eventually reveal who they really are." Darius shook his head. "You're too nice." Maybe she was. Or maybe she simply knew something everybody else didn't. Across town, Ethan was already learning that life with Vanessa wasn't as perfect as social media made it look. The first sign came during a dinner with wealthy investors. A waiter accidentally spilled water near Vanessa's purse. Vanessa exploded instantly. "Are you stupid?" she shouted. The entire restaurant went silent. The waiter apologized repeatedly. But Vanessa kept humiliating him loudly while Ethan sat there uncomfortable. Later that night, he finally spoke up. "You didn't have to destroy him like that." Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, poor people only learn through embarrassment." Something about those words bothered Ethan deeply, because once upon a time, he had been poor too. But he pushed the feeling away. Instead, he focused on Vanessa's promises. She talked constantly about luxury investments and billionaire connections. "You're thinking too small with your company," she told him one night beside the penthouse pool. "What do you mean?" "You should expand into hospitality, restaurants, nightlife, real money." Ethan leaned forward. "You really think so?" Vanessa smiled slowly. "With the right partners, we could dominate this city." For the first time in his life, Ethan truly felt powerful, important, elite, and he loved it. Meanwhile, strange things kept happening around Maya. One afternoon, a black SUV pulled up beside the BBQ stand. Two men in suits stepped out immediately. Darius stared wide-eyed. "You know those guys," Maya sighed softly. "Work stuff." One of the men approached respectfully. "Ms. Johnson, the meeting starts in 45 minutes. Darius nearly dropped the tray in his hands. "Ms. Johnson, meeting?" Maya glanced at the busy line of customers. "I'll be there later." "The board requested you personally." "I said later." The men nodded immediately and returned to the SUV without another word. Darius stared at Maya suspiciously. "What board?" Maya handed him a container of sauce. "Focus on the ribs." But rumours slowly started spreading. Some customers whispered that Maya secretly owned properties downtown. Others claimed famous chefs visited her privately at night. One man even swore he saw her entering a 5-star hotel through a private entrance. Still, nobody could prove anything. Then one evening, an older man in an expensive suit arrived at the stand alone. The moment Maya saw him, she smiled warmly. "Mr. Whitmore," the old man grinned. "Still refusing to retire, huh?" "Still refusing to stop eating my food?" They laughed. Darius leaned closer curiously. "Who's that?" a customer whispered immediately. "That's Charles Whitmore." "The billionaire?" Darius almost choked. Whitmore sat down at a plastic table beside construction workers and taxi drivers like he belonged there. Then he looked at Maya seriously. "The acquisition paperwork is ready." Maya kept flipping meat casually. "We'll discuss it tomorrow." Ethan happened to walk by that exact moment. He froze. Charles Whitmore, one of the richest investors in the country, at Maya's tiny BBQ stand. Whitmore noticed Ethan instantly. His smile disappeared. "So this is the husband?" Maya corrected him calmly. "Ex-husband." Whitmore looked Ethan up and down with disappointment. "Ah," he said quietly. "So you're the fool." Ethan frowned. "Excuse me?" Whitmore ignored him completely and turned back toward Maya. "Your grandfather would have hated this situation." Ethan's heart skipped slightly. Grandfather? What was happening? Before he could ask another question, Whitmore stood up and left. But Ethan couldn't stop thinking about that conversation. That night he confronted Maya outside the shop. Rain dripped softly from the roof while workers cleaned inside. "What was that?" Ethan demanded. "What was what?" "That billionaire talking about acquisitions and your grandfather." Maya crossed her arms calmly. "You suddenly interested in my life now?" "Don't play games with me." Maya looked tired. "I'm busy, Ethan." "No, something's going on." For several seconds she just stared at him quietly. Then she smiled sadly. "You only notice me when rich people do." Those words hit harder than he expected. Before he could respond, Maya walked back inside, and for the first time since leaving her, Ethan felt unsure. Later that week, Vanessa hosted an extravagant rooftop party for investors. Music blasted, champagne flowed endlessly. Everybody important in the city seemed to be there. Vanessa pulled Ethan close while cameras flashed around them. "This," she whispered proudly, "is the life you deserve." Ethan smiled, but then he overheard something strange nearby. Two investors were talking quietly. Ember Crown Holdings is buying half the downtown district. Who owns it? Nobody knows much about the CEO. She stays private. Must be old money. Whoever she is, she's richer than everyone at this party combined. Vanessa suddenly stiffened beside Ethan. "What's wrong?" he asked. She forced a smile. "Nothing." But her expression had changed completely. Later that night, Ethan found her drinking alone on the balcony. "You okay?" Vanessa hesitated, then quietly asked, "Have you ever heard of Maya Johnson connected to Ember Crown?" Ethan laughed immediately. "My ex-wife? She runs a BBQ stand." Vanessa didn't laugh. "She shares the same full name as the woman buying luxury properties all over the city." Ethan stared at her. "That's impossible." "Is it?" For the first time, genuine fear entered Vanessa's eyes. And suddenly, Ethan remembered all the strange things he had ignored. The SUVs, the businessmen, the private meetings. Charles Whitmore calling him a fool. His stomach tightened. "No," he muttered. "There's no way." But deep down, a terrifying thought had already started growing inside him. What if Maya had never been poor at all? Ethan stood frozen while the ballroom buzzed around him. Every powerful person in the city wanted Maya's attention. Men he had spent years trying to impress were suddenly waiting patiently just to shake her hand. One investor laughed nervously beside him. "I heard she bought 3 hotels this month alone." Another whispered, "Her net worth is insane." Ethan felt physically sick. Across the room, Maya spoke confidently with senators, CEOs, and international investors like she belonged there. Because she did. And somehow he had never truly known her. Vanessa forced a smile and pulled Ethan toward the bar. "Stop staring," she hissed. "You knew," Ethan said quietly. "What?" "You knew she was rich." Vanessa took a long sip of wine. "I suspected." "And you still pushed me to divorce her?" Vanessa's expression hardened immediately. "You made your own choices." Ethan laughed bitterly. "No, I made stupid choices." Before Vanessa could answer, several reporters rushed toward Maya near the stage. "Ms. Johnson, is it true Ember Crown is acquiring Laurent Luxury Group?" Vanessa nearly dropped her glass. Ethan turned sharply. "Laurent Luxury Group? Vanessa's company?" The reporters kept shouting questions. "Are the rumors about bankruptcy true? Will you replace current leadership?" Vanessa grabbed Ethan's arm painfully. "We're leaving." But Ethan pulled away. "Bankruptcy?" Vanessa's face twisted with anger. "Not here. You told me your company was thriving. It is thriving. Then why are reporters talking about bankruptcy?" Vanessa looked around nervously before lowering her voice. "Because people love gossip." But Ethan finally saw it. The panic in her eyes, the desperation, the cracks, everything he once ignored because he was blinded by luxury. At that exact moment, Maya stepped onto the stage for her speech. The ballroom quieted instantly. She looked calm, holding the microphone. Confident. Nothing like the exhausted woman Ethan used to watch over a grill every night. "Thank you all for being here," Maya said smoothly. 10 years ago, my grandfather taught me something important. He said the easiest way to know someone's heart is to let them think you have nothing." Several people nodded thoughtfully. Ethan's chest tightened. Maya continued. "He built an empire from a single food cart. And before he died, he left me one instruction." She smiled softly. "Never become too rich to recognize real people." Applause filled the room, but Ethan felt every word stabbing directly into him, because he had failed that test completely. Then Maya's eyes shifted toward him intentionally, and unfortunately, she added calmly, Money often reveals character faster than poverty ever could. The ballroom erupted again. Vanessa looked furious. She's talking about us. No, Ethan whispered painfully. She's talking about me. After the speech, dozens of wealthy guests surrounded Maya again. Ethan pushed through the crowd desperately. Maya! She turned slowly. Up close, she somehow looked even more distant now. Elegant, untouchable. Can we talk privately? He asked. Several executives exchanged uncomfortable glances before stepping away. Maya folded her arms calmly. You have 2 minutes. Ethan swallowed hard. Why didn't you tell me? She stared at him silently. I was your husband. And you still only valued appearances. That's not true. Maya laughed softly. You left me because I sold BBQ. I didn't know. That I was rich, she interrupted. Ethan's face burned with shame. Maya stepped closer. Do you know why I kept the stand? He shook his head slowly. Because it reminded me who I was before money. Her eyes hardened slightly. And because it helped me see who people really were. Ethan looked devastated. You tested me. No, Maya replied quietly. Life tested you. You failed on your own. That sentence completely destroyed him. Nearby cameras flashed constantly while powerful guests waited for Maya's attention, but Ethan suddenly didn't care about any of them anymore. He only cared about the woman he had betrayed. I made a mistake, he admitted. Maya's expression softened slightly. No, Ethan. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. Her eyes watered for the first time. You abandoned the person who loved you when you had nothing. He looked like he might cry. I'm sorry. And maybe he truly meant it. But Maya had suffered too deeply already. You know the saddest part? She whispered. What? You spent years searching for wealthy people. She glanced around the ballroom. While sleeping beside one every night. Then she walked away. Ethan stood there shattered, and somehow the night became even worse. The next morning, social media exploded. News headlines flooded everywhere. Secret billionaire, BBQ owner, revealed Ember Crown CEO, humiliates ex-husband, Laurent Luxury Group, facing financial collapse. Vanessa completely lost control. She stormed across the penthouse, screaming into multiple phones. No comment means no comment. Investors started pulling out. Sponsors disappeared. Lawsuits surfaced online. Then federal investigators arrived at the building. Ethan watched agents enter Vanessa's office with boxes. What is happening? He asked nervously. Vanessa grabbed her purse angrily. Temporary problems. Are you under investigation? No. Vanessa. I said no. But an hour later, the truth finally exploded. Most of Vanessa's luxury empire had been built on debt, fake valuations, and fraudulent partnerships. She wasn't nearly as wealthy as she pretended to be. And the final blow? Ember Crown Holdings had quietly purchased controlling shares in her collapsing company months earlier. Maya owned Vanessa's empire now. The irony was brutal. Ethan sat alone in the penthouse, staring blankly while reporters swarmed outside. Everything he chased was collapsing in real time. The luxury, the status, the image. Fake. All fake. Meanwhile, Maya kept growing stronger. Her BBQ brand expanded nationwide. Videos of her humble beginnings inspired millions online. People loved her because she never changed. Even after the Billionaire reveal, she still worked at the original BBQ stand every weekend. That shocked everyone most. One reporter asked her during an interview, "Why continue cooking if you're richer than almost everyone in this city?" Maya smiled warmly. Because success should never make you forget your roots. The clip went viral instantly, and Ethan watched every second alone. Weeks later, he finally returned to the old BBQ stand. But now it had transformed completely. The tiny roadside setup was gone. In its place stood a stunning restaurant packed with customers lined around the block. A glowing sign above the entrance read, Maya's Smokehouse. Yet inside, Maya was still cooking personally. Smoke curled through the kitchen while customers laughed happily around her. Some things money never changed. Ethan walked toward her slowly. She looked up immediately. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Ethan quietly said, "You kept it." Maya glanced around the restaurant. "My grandfather started with smoke and fire. I wasn't going to erase that." Ethan nodded weakly. "I lost everything." Maya looked at him carefully. "No," she said softly. "You threw everything away." Those words hurt because they were true. He swallowed hard. "I loved you." Maya's eyes saddened. "You loved the version of me you thought was beneath you." Silence stretched painfully between them. Finally, Ethan whispered, "Do you think you could ever forgive me?" Maya looked at the crowded restaurant, at families eating happily, at workers she had helped build careers for, at the life she created without him. Then she smiled sadly. "I forgave you a long time ago." Hope flashed across his face, but then she added gently, "That doesn't mean you get me back." And deep down, Ethan knew he deserved that answer. A young employee approached Maya moments later. "Boss, Table 7 says these are the best ribs they've ever tasted." Maya laughed softly. "Tell them thank you." The employee grinned. "Seriously, though, why are you still back here cooking when you could be anywhere in the world?" Maya looked down at the grill while flames reflected in her eyes. Then she smiled. "Because this was never about money." And as Ethan stood there realizing exactly what he lost, the camera faded out on the smoke rising from the grill that built an empire and revealed the true value of loyalty.